everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we'll try and understand all about the UPI transaction cost and whether you as a customer would be liable to pay anything when you make payments through the UPI interface, whether it's to pay off your mobile bill or to buy some items at the supermarket. Now, NPCI, which stands for the National Payments Corporation of India, they developed something called the UPI. And today, UPI interface is used to make real-time transfers between two personal bank accounts or between one personal bank account and the merchant's bank. And today, as we speak, UPI is definitely India's most preferred payment system. To bring you some numbers, in the month of December 2020, the volume of UPI transactions stood at 2.2 billion. In December 2022, it stood at 7.8 billion. So you can imagine, just within a span of 2 years, the growth has been more than 250% in terms of the UPI volume transactions. There's one more concept associated with UPI, and that's called the prepaid payment instruments. In other words, your digital wallets. You may be using services of PaytM or PhonePe or Mobikwik or Razorpay to use their digital wallets to load some amount of money in order to make the payments to your mobile service provider or to supermarkets. Those digital wallets are technically called the prepaid payment instruments. So everyone here knows about what is UPI and what is PPI and all that. But the ultimate question is, on whom will the surcharge or this interchange fee, which recently came about with the new guidelines, be applicable? To understand this further, let's take an example. So let's say you are a customer and you are using PaytM services, being a payment service provider, to make payment for some items purchased at the Reliance Smart Store. Now in this particular transaction, Reliance Smart Store is called the merchant and PaytM is called, like I told you, the payment service provider. The guideline, what it says is that when this particular UPI transaction is taking place, Reliance Smart Store will be liable to make some amount of payment to PaytM for utilizing PaytM services for the UPI transaction. What the guideline says is that from 1st April 2023, which is already over, for all transactions with the value exceeding 2000 rupees, the merchant or Reliance Superstore will be liable to pay a maximum up to 1.1% of the transaction value to PaytM, being the payment service provider, or you could say PaytM or Razorpay or Mobikwik, any payment service provider. The ultimate question is, would you as a customer, would you have to bear some amount of money, some amount of cost, whether it is the name of service fee, surcharge, interchange fee? The plain answer is a big no. Whether it is in the case of a P2P transaction, person to person, wherein you are using UPI to make a transfer from your bank account to your friend's bank account, or whether it's in the case of PTM, P2M, where you are using UPI services to make a transfer from your personal bank account to the merchant's bank account, in both the cases, you as a customer will not have to bear any cost because the transaction is between the payment service provider and the merchant's bank. Well, there's one more development which has come about with these new guidelines, and that is with respect to digital wallet loading. What it says is that when you, being the customer, when you're using PaytM services to load some amount of money from your bank account, in this case ICICI Bank, to load some amount of money from ICICI Bank into PaytM's wallet, then PaytM will be liable to pay an amount to ICICI which will be equivalent to 0.15% of the transaction value if again the value exceeds 2000 rupees. In other words, if you are loading an amount which is exceeding 2000 rupees from your bank account, in this case ICICI Bank account, to PaytM's digital wallet, then PaytM as a payment service provider will be liable to pay some amount of money which will be equal to 0.15% of the transaction value to your bank, in this case being ICICI Bank. So you can observe that in both the developments, right? The transaction between the payment service provider and the merchant bank and the merchant's bank, the transaction between the payment service provider and your bank, in both these transactions, you will not be affected. You will remain unaffected because you'll have to not bear any service fee, surcharge, interchange fee, whatever. But in my opinion, what I think is that in the years to come, in future, at some point of time, the customer, you and me, will have to bear some amount of charge while using UPI interface. Because you must understand that right now, from 1st April 2023, as we speak, the payment service providers have to bear this cost when customers use their digital wallets. And in my opinion, into the future, they will shift this particular cost to the ultimate customer, right? The initiator. And therefore, we will have to bear the service fee. This is only my opinion, but I think as of for now, the objective of the payment regulator is to somehow even increase the volume of UPI transactions in India, which is definitely aligning with the objective of making money white. I hope I was able to make things clear through this particular video. If you like the video, do show support to us by hitting the like button. If you want more simplified videos like these on regular basis, do support us also by hitting the subscribe button. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Till then, take care and thank you.